Hey everyone, in this video, we'll make the animations match the height of our obstacles by using a technique called target matching. So right now, if you try to perform a parkour action, you can see that the animation is not matching the height of the obstacle. So if I just try it again, you can see that while performing the animation, the player's feet is on the air, right? So this is because this animation was not designed to work on this obstacle height. It was designed to work on a higher obstacle. Okay, and next if we try the step up action on this obstacle, you can see that this time the player's feet was actually under the obstacle. So in this case, the height of the obstacle is a bit more higher than the one the animation was designed to work on. Okay, so it's really impractical to have different animations for different obstacle heights. So we'll solve this using a smart technique called target matching. So target matching will allow us to modify the animation so that a certain body part of the character reaches a certain point at a certain time in the animation. Okay, so let's look at the documentation of target matching. So in the documentation, you can see that target matching is actually useful in situation where we want to move the character in such a way that the hand or foot lands at a certain place at a certain time. Okay, so in our case, for the step up animation, we can use target matching and we can make the right foot of the player land on the obstacle at this point of time in the animation. Okay, and similarly we can do the same for the jump up animation. So in case of the jump up animation, we can make the right foot of the character reach the obstacle height at this point of time in the animation. So let's go ahead and implement this. So first, in the parkour action script, I'll define the variables that we need for target matching. So first I'll create a Boolean variable called enable target matching. Okay, and I'll just set it to true by default. So this will decide if target matching should be enabled for this action. So next, I'll create another variable of type avatar target, and I'll call this match body part. Okay, so this will be the body part that we want to match. So avatar target is basically an enum, and it can have values like root, body, left foot, right foot. Basically all the body part that we might need for target matching. Okay, so next we need two more variables. One for the match start time and the other for the match target time. Okay, so let me explain what these two times are. So let's try to understand what the start time and the target time are for the step up animation. So the target time is the time at which the body part should reach the specified position. So for the step up animation, we want the right foot to reach the specified position at around this point in the animation, right? So the target time will be somewhere around 46.8%. Okay. And next, the start time is the time after which we should do target matching. So for this animation, you can see that the player starts jumping around the 32% mark, right? So we should really do target matching after that point. If we do it before that, it'll look weird because the player might move up before she actually starts jumping. Okay, so while target matching, we have to specify a start time and a target time, and the matching will only happen between those time windows. Okay, So in our case, start time is somewhere around 31:32, since that's the point at which the player is launching into the air, and the end time will be somewhere around 48. Okay, so now let's go back to our Parkour action script. So these are the variables that we need for target matching. So let me just add a header on top of this just to keep it segregated. All right. And we also need to create properties to expose these variables. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. So I've created properties to expose all these variables. So next, we need to calculate the position to which the body part should be matched, or the body part should reach, right? So in our case, that position is a point on our obstacle, right? So here I'll create a new public property called match position. All right. And if enable target matching is true, then we have to calculate the match position. So match position is just a point on our obstacle. So we can get that point from our height hit dot point. So here I'll assign height hit dot point to our match position property. Okay. So now we have all the things to do target matching. So let's go ahead and do the target matching while the action is being performed. So while the action is being performed, I'll check if action dot enable target matching is true. And if so, I'll call a function to do the target matching. So let me create that function over here. All right, I'll call it match target, and it'll take reference to the action. So in this function, we can do the target matching by calling animator dot match target. So this is a function that can be used for doing target matching. Okay. So first, for the match position, I'll pass action dot match position. Okay, the one we calculated just now. So next, for the match rotation, we don't actually need to match the rotation. So I'll just pass transform dot position for now. We are not going to match it anyway because we'll specify it in our weight mask parameter. Okay. So next, we have to pass the body part that we want to match. So I'll pass action dot match body part for that. Okay. So next we can pass a weight mask for target matching. So this will decide what all we should match. So for this parameter, I'll pass a new instance of match target weight mask. And in this instance, we can pass the weight for the position and rotation. So for position, we have to pass a vector, and we can pass 0 or 1 for the x, y, z coordinates. So for both our animations, we only want the target matching to happen in the y-axis, right? We only want to match it to the height of the obstacle. So we don't want to match the x and z position. We only want to match the y position. Okay. So I'll pass 0 for the x, 1 for the y, and 0 for the z. So if we pass 0, then it won't match that coordinate. And if we pass 1, it'll match that coordinate. So in this case, we only passed 1 for y, so only y will be matched. Okay. So next, we can pass a weight for the rotation. So we don't want to match rotation, so I'll just pass 0 for the rotation weight. All right. So next we have to pass the start normalized time of the target matching. So I'll pass action dot match start time for that. Okay. And next we also have to pass the target time. So let me also pass that. All right. So this is all we need to pass while calling the match target function. But we have an error here. So this is because I'm passing transform.position for the rotation parameter. So let me just pass transform.rotation here. Okay. So this line of code will do the target matching for us. So we only have to call this once and it'll keep doing the target matching. So we don't have to call this function again if the animator is already doing the target matching. So we can check that by using animator dot is matching target property. So if that's true, then we don't want to call this again. So I'll just return from this function. Okay. So now we have the function for target matching. So let's go ahead and call it from here if the target matching is enabled for this action. So I'll call match target and I'll pass the action. All right, so this is all you have to do. So now let's go ahead and test the target matching on our actions. So first I'll set it up for the step up action. So for the step up action, we have to match the right foot of the character, and the end time is around 51 and the start time is around 30. And by the way, these are not actual time, these are the percentages, right? So the end time is actually 51 percentage and the start time is 30 percentage. Okay, so keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and set these values in the step up action. So first I'll make sure that the target matching is enabled, and then for the match body part I'll select the right foot. Okay, and next the match start time is 30 percentage, right? But when passing the time to the match target function, we have to normalize it. So 30 will become 0.3. Okay, so the time should be normalized. So next, the target time is around 51 percentage. So after normalizing it, it will be 0.51, right? So if you read the documentation for target matching once, it'll be more clear for you because they are explaining with an example. So here, for example, if the start time is 14.1, then 0.141 is what we have to pass into the target matching function because that is a normalized time. Okay, so basically you just have to divide it by 100 and use that value. Okay, so let's go ahead and test if the target matching is working on the step up action. Okay, so now if I try to perform the step up action on this obstacle, you can see that the player's feet is no longer in the air anymore, right? It's perfectly matching the height of the obstacle. Okay, so now let's try it on this obstacle. All right, so even for this obstacle, you can see that the feet is matching the height of the obstacle perfectly. All right, so that's awesome. Our step up animation looks a lot better now with target matching. Okay, so next we need to use it on the jump up animation. So if I try to perform jump up on this, you can see that it looks really weird. Most of the player's leg is inside the obstacle, while performing the animation. So let's go ahead and use target matching for the jump up action. Okay, so here we have to match the right foot. Actually, let's go ahead and check that in our animation. Okay, so yeah, here we have to match the right foot, and the target time is around 40%, right? So next, let's also look for the start time. So this is where the player starts launching into the air, right? So it's around 15%. And by the way, it's not going to make a big difference if these values are slightly off. So you don't have to stress about getting the perfect value. All right, so let's go ahead and assign those in the jump up animation. So the body part is right foot. The match start time is 15%. So I'll normalize it and write 0.15. Okay. And the match target time is 40%, right? So that will be 0.40. Okay. So let's go ahead and check how the target matching is working on the jump up animation. All right. So now you can see that the player's leg is not going under the obstacle. It's matching the height correctly, right? But there's a little problem. After we play the animation, the player's doing a little hop. We'll fix that pretty soon. But first, let's make sure that it's also working on this obstacle. So yeah, the target matching is working fine, right? The only problem now is this issue where the player's leg goes up a little after playing the animation. So this is not a problem with target matching. This happens when we are transitioning from the jump up animation to the idle animation. So during such blending, we can have weird issues like this. But Unity provides us with a really easy way for fixing it. So all you have to do is in the Y root transform of the animation. So over here, we just have to change the based upon to feet. Okay. So this will fix such issues that we have during blending. So let's also look at the documentation for this to get a better idea. So if I open the Unity's documentation for root motion, and if I scroll down to root transform position Y, here for the based upon property, you can see that we have a feet option, which Unity says is very convenient for animations that change height. So when using feet for the root transform position Y, Unity will match the lowest foot Y for all frames. So this can prevent floating problems when we are blending or transitioning to a different animation. Okay. So basically for animations that change height, it's good to use the feet for the based upon property. Okay. So let me go ahead and apply this. And let me also assign the feet for the step up animation, because there's also a little bit of a floating problem for the step up animation. It's kind of hard to notice, but there is a little. So I'll also change this to feet. All right. And I'll hit apply. So now let's go ahead and test this. Okay. So yeah, now you can see that we don't have that problem anymore. The jump up animation is just working perfectly. All right. So let's also test the step up action. So yeah, that's also working perfectly. So target matching is a pretty cool technique. You can make one animation work for any obstacle heights you want, right? So I'll stop the video here and I'll see you in the next video.